What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces of gear, my favorite pieces of furniture. Sure, I'm a little bit biased, but this is the Bunn Gear Command Center. Now the one I'm standing behind right now is the one that stays here in my office for when we do live streams and so on and so forth. This one is pretty basic. I don't have a lot in it. But what I'm going to show you today is the tour of my personal DJ booth that I've been using for years. The one that you see in the back of the Benz van, the one you see in all of our videos. We are going to move this one out of the way, roll that one in, and we're going to show you a full behind the scenes of how I built out my personal Bunn Gear Command Center. I think it's been a while since we've done this, so stick around. This is going to be an awesome video for those of you that either have one of these or are on the fence thinking about getting one. This is going to push you over. Here we go. All right, everybody. So what we did was we went out to the van. We rolled in my personal Bunn Gear Command Center to give you a full look behind the scenes, a full tour of exactly what I'm using, how I'm using it. So we might as well start on the top. So Saquon, if you come around, just kind of show them here. Now, this is something we started doing recently. This is, of course, the Insta360 1X3. They have the X5 out now. But this little tripod here is exactly the same diameter as the laptop stand pole. So what we've done is, and somebody turned me onto this, shout out whoever turned me onto this, and it is made by Insta360. I'll put a link down below on where you can get this. But Saquon, if you want to come around here behind me real quick and kind of just shoot over my shoulder, you guys can see, if you don't own a Bunn Gear Command Center, I call it the green thing. It's basically a laptop stand clamped. You can see it right there. And if you look, this goes right there. And even if you want to go in here and tighten up these little bolts, you can really make it stable. And again, Saquon, if you'll go over to the other side and show exactly what it looks like for the laptop stand as well. Once you put the laptop stand in, you kind of just crank down on these, all right? So that's the 360 camera holder that we've started to use. As you can see, I've also got a custom cut top. We've got the sound switch control 1. We've got our Pioneer DDJ Flex 10, and then you also have the ability now to get a cup holder, and it does come with this stainless steel cup holder as well now too. So that's kind of a new feature. Fits like a glove. And then of course, one of my other favorite companies, DXaver, has our gear covered. So I leave a little bit of room around the cutouts, boom, and then boom. Perfect, right? So that's the top. Going over here, I'm using still the original laptop stand, if you will. There's also a deluxe laptop stand. We'll cut to some B-roll of that right now so you can see what that one looks like. People ask me what the difference is. Well, the deluxe has an arm, so if you have short arms, kind of like I do, you can move it a little bit more closer to you. And we've worked on those to improve those since they came out as well. So you can pick one of those up at bunngear.com as well. This is a few years old M1 MacBook Pro. And then basically I've just got power, sound switch controller, and then this is 1/8 inch to RCA for running Spotify like during cocktails or dinner and things like that into an open channel on the Flex 10. All right. Now you also notice on these particular pieces of gear that they're white, and the reason they are white is because I skinned them from a company called 12-inch Skins. And basically what you do is you go on their site, you order or you look for your piece of gear. They've got just about everything you can think of, from sound switch controllers to DJ controllers, turntables, drum machines, keyboards. And I just ordered the white ones and skinned them. Of course, you could have made it any design you wanted to. Marvel, Disney, you know, Fruit Loops, whatever you like, you could have made it that. I just happen to go with an all white motif for this. The only other thing I wanted to show you on the top is sometimes people want to come up and charge their phones. So I just ordered this little USB-C jack that just goes to a regular iPad charger. Sometimes we charge the iPad real quickly on that. It's a little bit exposed, and you know, you have a cable, and it's not my favorite thing that I've ever done to it, but it's easy. And basically all I did is drill a hole through one of our little plastic caps here that kind of cap off the top, and then I just dropped it in, and I think I hot glued it in. As you can see, if you go back and look at it again, Saquon, I could have just drilled 2 little holes and then run a little nut and bolt through if I'd wanted to do that as well. The only other thing looks like on the top that I wanted to mention is our antenna kit. So basically when the booth comes, you just have holes here and they have a little plastic cap with the BG logo on it. This one, as you can see, I have the antenna kit. These are the B and C connectors. The silver one you can order for the white booth. The black one you can order for the black booth. And by the time this video comes out, we should be selling these ourselves instead of going to a third party. So keep your eye out for those. But if you have a microphone with removable antennas, you are going to want to order this when you order your Bunn Gear Command Center, the antenna kit. One more thing I didn't mention, the reason the booth looks really high on me right now, actually it's still pretty comfortable, is it is sitting on this little homemade dolly right here. And basically it is a variation of a furniture dolly that I got on Amazon, and then I just took a couple of pieces of scrap PVC, a nut, a bolt, a couple of spacers, and just made it so that you basically can clamp it down to this cart. Now, I will put a link down below to this actual cart. I think I did upgrade the casters at some point on this particular board, and the real treat is I'm working on making a cart for all Bunn Gear users that leave their booths fully assembled. That will be coming out in the near future as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that, or you can always just do a little makeshift one until that one comes out. All right, so let's get this thing turned around and really get into the guts of it. Okay, so spinning the booth around, this branding will be on all the booths, of course. Listen, if you don't like it or you don't like me for some reason, you can always take your thumb and just take it right off. I've also got my little signature here on this side just because I thought it looked cool. But then going from top to bottom, down here into our rack, the thing that we really came up with, and I believe we were the first to do it. Somebody else is probably gonna try and say they were, but we had this idea, when I was building the booth and as I was drawing it and everything else, dimensions were very important to me. I wanted it to look stable and be stable. And I also wanted it to look substantial in the middle, not those little skinny ones, and I'm not gonna say the brand, where it just looks like if a drunk person leaned on it, it's gonna flip over. And the wider it started getting, I realized it was getting close to 19 inches, which is the width of a standard rack. And so I was like, man, we might as well make it rack width and be able to put extra gear in here. So we have a 12U rack space, basically right here in the middle of the booth. At the top, we've got this trip light. This is really an upgraded 20 amp, I believe is what it's called, power strip, if you will. So a lot of the stuff's plugged in back here. I also have a power strip in the top for like my laptop, the controller, and then a couple of other things. And then everything in this patch panel is plugged into here. And again, when you're running something like the Evolve 90s, they're drawing a ton of current. You cannot use a cheap version of this. I did it and it tripped it and it was not good. It was in the middle of like prime dancing. So I recently upgraded to this trip light. This one is really nice. I'll put a link down below to that. This is just a vented blank space here. And then my next two items are both from Sennheiser, both EWG4s. This is my in-ear monitors, and again, I attached my little BNC antenna here just so it's not behind or in the rack ping-ponging around. And then this is my handheld mic. I just have one handheld mic, and again, this routes up to the antenna kit that I just showed you. Next thing I want to talk about is this custom-made patch panel. Now this, folks, is from my boy Ben Stowe over at NLFX Pro. If you want one, all you got to do is email him, ben@nlfxpro.com. You're going to want to tell him what kind of controller you have and then what kind of outputs and inputs you want on this thing. He'll send you a drawing all laid out. You can get it etched with your logo. I don't know the exact price. It usually depends on the configuration, but as you can see, I got left speaker out. I got my extra microphone in if I wanted to do like a wired mic into here. I've got my record out for if I wanted to send RCAs to a videographer. I've got a booth out, left and right XLR, which is different than the back of the Flex 10, which is 1/4 inch out. Of course, you've got your PowerCon cable, extra power source here, and then your right speakers here. So that is probably one of my favorite things in the booth. And then another thing that I've added recently is a rack drawer. Now, if you watch my channel, you'll see that this custom insert is from mycasebuilder.com, I think is what it's called. It was a couple of videos back, and I made a whole video on how you do this process right here. So in-ear monitor pack here, emergency backup wired mic, my wireless Sennheiser, my actual Ultimate Ears custom molded in-ears, and then these are for AA batteries. If I say one thing I did fail on was this, I should have probably probably done a little notch to be able to get them out. That's why there's no batteries in here right now, because they are super tight. I literally had to pull them out with a set of pliers. So that was my only mistake on this custom cutout. And to be completely honest with you, if you go back and watch that video, you can get insurance when you check out. I could have probably sent this one back and say, hey, I messed up, send me another one with bigger holes for the AA batteries. In fact, I may still be able to do that because I know I bought the insurance. So that is that side of it. Down here, we use this little storage area for two things. One, we had this little laptop stand bag made from Tuki, that's T-U-K-I, and we put the laptop stand in there and then really kind of jam it in there for transportation. We also, I'll put them on in just a second and show you when we roll out, have covers from that company as well that go over this entire thing so you don't damage it as you're going through doorways and things like that. And then once we set up and run our combo cables left and right to our speakers, any extra cable we can coil up and put down here as well, whether it's power cable or, like I said, the combo XLR power cables as well. So that's nice to have this kind of open. That's why I usually don't run the rack all the way down or put another blank space there, because I like to use it for storage. Even if you had a small bag or your drink or something like that, you could put it down there as well. The last thing I wanted to show you on the side were what we call the hook, and these just kind of, you know, spin out from here. These are for your microphones, and then you've got one on the other side for your headphones. These actually come with the Bunn Gear Essentials bundle, so you don't need to worry about adding those. Obviously, the booth does come with carrying bags. For the top and the laptop stand go in one bag, the rack and the base plate go in another bag. So it does come with bags. As you can see though, I leave mine fully assembled on this little rolling board with these two key covers, and I'll show you what it looks like when I put those on and roll out. I think is the full tour of everything I have in my booth. Now, as somebody that is a cable management fanatic, you'll see that it's pretty messy under here. Like you kind of saw that up there, like Saquon, you can kind of see on the back side of the controller, it's kind of messy. And even in the rack, it's probably a bit messy behind all that gear. But here's the beauty of it, guys. This stuff is not going to be seen by your audience unless they came around the booth and got down on one knee and started peeking all in here. So to me, it's less important to have this perfect cable management inside the rack or even in the top than it would be if I had some other kind of piece of furniture or booth where you could see all the cables. You just don't see them when you have the Bunn Gear Command Center. And so I don't spend a lot of time zip tying, you know, sticking them down, hiding them, fishing them, all that stuff. You just don't need to do that. Put the gear in the rack, put the gear in the top, put the lid on, and bam, you're ready to go. If you want to put a couple of blanks to hide some other stuff, you can always get those cheap blanks on Amazon or anywhere you buy your rack mount gear. But all in all, this is the Bunn Gear Command Center. This is my personal unit. If you have any questions, you can always ask me in the comments. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. So here it is, all packed up and ready to go. Two key cover on the top with the straps. You got kind of a little wraparound girdle here for this one with a Velcro all the way down one side. It just wraps around the entire rack. The base plate is still exposed, but that's okay because it's up on the rolling cart. And then basically I'm ready to go. You know, I just kind of roll it this way. You can see that it fits through a little bit wider doors. And Saquon keeps on backing up. Yep, he's going through a normal, I can't remember what the inches are doors, but this is a standard door right here, and you can see you can even push it through standard doors, and then boom, we'd go right out down the ramp into the back of the van. So the covers are pretty much essential if you are going to be doing it this way, because eventually you're just going to hit it on a door frame or something like that. You don't want to dent it or, you know, take the powder coating off or anything like that, which is, again, very hard to do, but you will do it if you slam it into something. So as you can see, it fits through doors, super easy this way, but I would get yourself a set of covers, either get somebody locally to make them or Tuki to make them, or hopefully in the future, Bunn Gear will be making covers, but it just goes right on top, straps on with the Velcro. That one wraps around, Velcros. You're on the cart, you got a couple of little lockdowns of some sort and some good casters on this little board here, and you're ready to roll it right up in your trailer or van, and you're on to the next show. So easy way to keep it assembled. This is my personal booth. I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes tour. So that's what's up. What did you think of the behind the scenes look at my personal Bunn Gear Command Center? Let me know down below in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. And of course, please subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 20K. Thank you guys so much for watching. New videos every single week. See ya.